Now, two of the most popular midfielders in the game, Karu Mitoma and Jared Bowen, are both flagged at the moment. With Salah and Haaland both playing each other, is this the time to go differential with your captain? And Matty Cash, he's been a bit disappointing. Is it time to sell him? Now, if you didn't know already, Mitoma unfortunately picked up an injury while playing for Japan on international duty, and he is expected to miss the Nottingham Forest fixture in game week 13. Given the fact he was benched in game week 12 as well, he's been a bit painful to own of recent. And if you don't have any other priority players to get rid of, or maybe someone on your bench that could come in to replace him, I think he could well be a sell. There are a few options in and around his price tag that you could replace him with. My number one replacement for Mitoma, because everyone could afford to do this transfer that owns Mitoma, is Eberechi Eze. For the next three fixtures, he's got a really, really lovely run. Luton, one of the worst defences in the league. West Ham, most people not happy with Areola because he keeps conceding goals, and obviously he plays for West Ham. And Bournemouth at home, also one of the worst defences in the Premier League. So it's looking really good for him in the next three fixtures. He's nailed on for 90 minutes, takes all the pens and free kicks for Crystal Palace. I would definitely say he fits the talisman mould. He's got 2 returns in the 2 games since he's returned from injury. As I said, it's actually less than 2 games because he came off the bench when he returned. So it's 1.5 games basically where he's got a couple of returns. 3.1% ownership at this present time, just ridiculously low owned. And with Elise coming back as well, I think that only serves to improve Eze's chances. I think opposition players will know to target Eze because he is the biggest threat in that Palace team. But Elise, he adds another factor to that Palace attack and gives defenders more to think about. For that reason, I think Eze is going to not be left alone, but there's going to be less attention drawn to Eze. For that reason, I think he's going to be even more dangerous. 6.1 million for the upside he provides. Incredible value. Cole Palmer is my next player I've got my eye on. Just looks really, really good. And I think the term penalty merchant that's surrounding him, yes, the 4 goals he's got from the 6 games he's played so far have all come from penalties, but he's pulled up 1.7 non-penalty expected goals and 3 expected assists. Obviously, all of that comes from not penalties. So I do think there are additional things to, additional strings to Palmer's bow beyond just taking penalties. He seems to be nailed in that Chelsea attack. Obviously, their penalty taker at the moment. I think with the way he's been taking in them and how confident he has been, I think he even keeps them when Nkunku's back in the team, to be honest. Yes, you could consider Newcastle, Brighton and Man United to be tough fixtures, but you could also spin the narrative in that Newcastle are looking quite depleted with all the injuries they've gotten. Brighton still yet to keep a clean sheet in the Premier League, and Man United, you don't really know what you're going to get with them. So those 3 fixtures on the face of it look tough, but I mean, they might not be. And yeah, I just think Cole Palmer is a fantastic option. 0.98 expected returns per 90 for 5.2 million. And the Chelsea fixture run from game week 16 onwards is ridiculous. He's a brilliant option. Now, I wondered if you could do me a favour. If you're enjoying the video so far, please make sure to leave a like rating, subscribe to the channel as well, set the notification bell so you can see when I upload next. If you're really enjoying the video, please consider joining as a channel member. You'll get early access to all of my videos, and when I deadline stream, I'll give you priority when I rate people's teams in Draft Hound. You can also, if you want to support the channel in a different way, check out my shop down below. You can buy yourself a golden goal sticker or a mug. All right, back to the video. And if you do have a bit of cash in the bank, I think Mbeumo is the ideal replacement for Mitoma. He is consistently knocking out attacking returns against all levels of opposition. He obviously takes the Brentford penalties without Tony. Guaranteed to start, again, similar to Eze, and just play 90 minutes. He's got really, really good underlying numbers from a bigger sample size than Cole Palmer, who we saw previously. He started all 12 games this season and 0.89 expected returns per 90. That means pretty much, well, when you consider that most games are over 100 minutes long now, you could probably say every time he plays a football match, he's expected to get a return. Arsenal at home, on the face of it, you could say that's a tough fixture, and obviously it is. But Brentford have a really good record against top 6 teams, and the way they play on the counter-attack, I think Bryan Mbeumo is one of the best counter-attacking footballers in the world at the moment. I think he's got a chance of scoring against them. One thing I would say, they're going to blank in game week 18, but there is a likely double in game week 20 versus Man City and Crystal Palace. So if you do bring in Mbeumo, you need to have a plan for dealing with game week 18. Right, so it's well known that Jarrod Bowen was left at home for England's game at North Macedonia. People obviously have him in their team, might be worried about him being injured. I had a look on Twitter. To be honest, it doesn't look like the injury is that serious. I also, just out of interest, had a look at his injury record across his career, and it's ridiculous. He's got one notifiable injury in the 2019-2020 season. He had a knock that kept him out for 2 days. That's his injury record across his career so far. So I don't think he's injured. I think he's going to be fine. He'll play in game week 13. And actually, rather than a player I would consider selling, I think he's probably one of the top players I'd consider buying. He just ticks every box that I like in an FPL asset. He's absolutely nailed to play for West Ham. 90 minutes every time he goes out. He's a player that you can just hold on to all season long, and he's going to reward you with consistent attacking returns. And the next 5 fixtures, considering where Spurs are defensively at the moment as well, obviously they're in there in game week 15, it's just a really, really nice run. And Antonio unfortunately picked up an injury on the international break, which means Bowen is going to be playing, I think, centre forward. And thanks to FPL Focal for this one. When you look at his stats at centre forward compared to when he's playing on the right, he's more threatening at centre forward. So that only increases his appeal for me. I think of all the midfielders in the game below 8 million, Bowen is probably the best. And just a general comment as well, beyond just the stats, I think every time I see him play, he gets chances against any level of opposition. And yeah, he might be slightly overperforming his underlying numbers, 8 goals compared to basically 5 XG. That seems to be a trend for Bowen across his entire career. Last season, it was a little bit disappointing. Well, West Ham in general were. But when you look at the 21-22 season, he massively outperformed his underlying numbers there. And I think he's playing to that level now. That just shows Bowen's clinicality, basically, and how good of an attacker or finisher he is. Yeah, just a fantastic option. And gotta be honest, I think he's my #1 transfer target. I'm going to cover captaincy very, very briefly here because I've talked about it in detail on a couple of my videos now. And there is a chance that a differential captain could be a good idea. Obviously, we've got Haaland and Salah both playing each other. Liverpool against Man City, as you can see there. These are the draft hound expected points. They do both come out on top, however. Saka, Son, Bowen, Watkins, the other 4. Saka, I always think there's a little bit of injury risk around Saka at the moment. Yeah, he's just been carrying niggles all season, and I think that sort of holds him back. Son, without Maddison, I think he is a little bit less dangerous than he has been. I just think Maddison added so much to that Spurs attack that without him in the team, it's only going to reduce Son's goal threat. I've actually spoken about it in a video previously. I in some way consider selling him. Bowen and Watkins, yes, I've just bigged up Jarrod Bowen, but I don't think he's quite a captaincy material player. And it's the same with Ollie Watkins, particularly how he played for England. So yeah, I do think it's between Haaland and Salah. I don't think it's the week to go differential. And when you look at the Liverpool-Man City fixture history, it's a really high-scoring game, and I just think there's going to be goals for both players in it. To be honest, I think the Haaland and Salah captaincy is actually really close. So if you don't own Haaland still, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think Salah's got a good chance of scoring. For me, though, I'm going Erling Haaland. Matty Cash, then. A lot of players, well, in FPL will obviously own the guy now and are probably disappointed with his performances in recent game weeks. He's got a couple of decent fixtures left. Spurs away, Bournemouth away. I would say Spurs away at the moment, given how they're playing defensively without Van der Ven. I think Villa have got a chance of doing well in that game. Cash has got a reasonable chance of attacking returns. Will they keep a clean sheet? Not entirely sure, but I don't think I'd be selling him specifically for that fixture. And then he plays Bournemouth, right, who are one of the worst defences in the league. So I think he's got a chance in those couple of games. And then it's Man City and Arsenal. I think you could probably sell him come game week 15 time, but for the next couple of game weeks, I think he's a hold, and I'll show you why. First of all, he is the top defender in the Premier League this season for total expected goal involvement. Got 2 goals and 1 assist in total from 4.74 expected goal involvement. That's actually better than Kieran Trippier has managed, according to the FPL XGI stats. You can see all the defenders there. Cash is #1. So if you're looking at a replacement, you're going to be replacing him with a defender that's got less expected goal involvement. So that's the first thing you got to bear in mind. Secondly, they might not have kept that many clean sheets, don't get me wrong, but Aston Villa are the 5th best defence in the league so far for expected goals conceded. So again, the point comes back. If you're replacing Matty Cash, You're going to have to do it for a defender. Well, you'd like to do it for a defender that has a better expected goal involvement. There isn't one. And you'd want to do it for a defender that's more likely to keep a clean sheet. And I think those are very few and far between. Potentially the Arsenal defenders could be an option. But then again, looking at the expected goal involvement, they're not as dangerous going forward. So Matty Cash, as I said, for those next couple of fixtures he's got, based on the fact he's the top defender for expected goal involvement, and Villa are the 5th best defence in the league for expected goals conceded, I don't think you can sell him across the next 2 games. All right, and that's the end of the video. I think I've covered there the major talking points that I've uncovered for the game week so far. Let me know in the comments if you've got any more that you want me to cover. Just, comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like rating. Subscribe to the Goal to Goal channel, which should be just there. And I'll be back again soon with another video.